Hello and welcome back to BookGames Spectator. We're going to pick up where we left off in our course titled BookGames Spectator course. This is number 6 in our course series. So what's next? We're going to pick back up where we left off, going through the order book. Remember, when I first start BookGames spectating, I like to look through the listing time along with the most recent sold in order to get a sense of what the order book is feeling like based on the market participants. What type of stuff is being floated in terms of what people would like to get sold, and what type of things have already been sold most recently. Now, we're not going to do an analysis on the most recent listings. We're still taking our time to go back through the classic entries in the most recent weeks. And I found this tenacity that I'd like to use as an example to describe, okay, so tenacity, hollow, black token frame. Now, we've already went over in the previous episode, number 5, how and why a tenacity hollow is so important, but we didn't really describe it. I tried to use a juxtaposition where I juxtaposed its value in relation to the other green items, such as conviction and gratitude, so I figured I'd show you what that looks like on my screen. So this episode is going to be about convictions and gratitudes. So we're going to start from at the beginning, as deep as we can get into the order book. Actually, let's not do that. Let's just do conviction, gratitude, hollow. That way we can make it simpler. So what's the difference? In this case, we were looking at everything. All of the lava, gold, bubble, diamond, hollow, all of the spectaculars for gratitude and conviction. And now we're just looking at the hollow conviction and hollow gratitude. Okay, so we're scrolling down and we inverted it for the sale time. So the sale time is oldest at the top. So let's take a look at what these conviction, gratitude, and gratitude were being sold at. Okay, the first one sold was 0.527 ETH. So they were going for 0.5 and then 0.15 and then 0.13. Highest was 2 at that for that wood. It's always interesting to imagine what type of market mechanics were going on for so many different market participants engaged with price discovery. People got some really good sells, and people got stuck with some really hard buys. It's really quite tragic. A lot of people are underwater in this marketplace. They're trapped, forced to think about what it means to engage in market capitulation versus if they think they can do something better with the Ethereum that's otherwise trapped. But you'd have to capitulate in order to get access to it, because what you bought it for was not the same as what you'll be able to sell it for at the present moment. So we're looking and we're seeing 1.3s, 1.7s. This is 1 Ethereum. We're looking at upwards of thousands of dollars. 2s. Okay, we're looking at 2s. $8,000. $11,000. 5 Ethereum for that. Oh wow, that was crazy. You saw that? This one went for 5 Ethereum. Yeah, and they're holding on for dear life. That's crazy. 5 Ethereum. They spent 5 Ethereum on that one. 5 Ethereum. And this one's going and this one, the same one, went for 0.211 Ethereum. Oh, and then they sold it, dude. That was the come up, dude. They got over 5 Ethereum for this one. That was nice, dude. That was a crazy. This person has a story to tell, especially because they sold it for this, and then the person capitulated, rightly or wrongly, for this price, because that was, that's why you have to understand your token counts and rarities and the history, because if you don't have a strong enough market foundation, you might wind up in a similar position as this person, where they quite literally bought it for 0.211 Ethereum, 0.211 Ethereum, and the next day sold it for 5 Ethereum, and then the person sold it again for 0.6351 Ethereum. So we're just doing this to get a sense of what does the order book look like for conviction hollows and gratitude hollows, and we're taking our time to see, and we're scrolling real fast right now trying to make up time. Now we're going for 2 Ethereum. Oh, it's 0.2, 4. This was for a pearl. 3 Ethereum, 0.18, 2 Ethereum, 3 Ethereum, 0.19 Ethereum. So this is all to just showcase how expensive these tokens were based on their relative value, based on their relative rarity, in terms of price discovery, in terms of market, like what the market was willing to buy and sell these tokens for, how they were valuing them in the present moment. And then we have the price fall off 3 years ago, dropping down to 0.6, 0.7, 0.9, 0.8. Let's slow it down a little bit. Okay, so what are we looking at specifically? We're just looking at the price fall off difference from 3 years ago to the max, when these tokens were getting 2 Ethereum, 1.8 Ethereum. Settling into being sold for 1.5, 1.4, 1.3. Two years ago. Excuse me. Scrolling down. I wonder, was this the same one? No, this was a different one. Not bad. You know, I have a preference for Galaxy. And you're going to want to find those preferences in your frames You might want to go for a whole set of golds. You might want to go for a whole set of granites. You might want to go for sets based on what you think is attainable, versus to use these as different anchor points to leverage how you're weighing the rarities. So we're still here in the tenacities. So let's double back to why this tenacity was important. Let's close this out. Okay, so now we can see that most recently these are being sold for $100, $300, $400. The market has definitely crashed when it comes to its valuation, but how does the market crash relate to the historical analysis of what the token's intrinsic worth is in its totality? Is it worth what it's worth currently? Yes, but what will it be worth over the long run? That remains to be seen, but we can take a historical analysis of it by charting what people were willing to buy and willing to sell at some previous point in the past. So let's include tenacity in this picture, and let's exclude galaxy and gratitude. And let's see the similarities and the differences. This was a tenacity hollow black, and now we're looking at tenacity hollow everything, all frames. So okay, so one, yeah, it's localized at 1. You have one for 0.2, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5. Okay, so we're at 12 minutes. We have a 15-minute hard stop. Okay, 2. We're at 2. Let's speed this up a little bit. $1.3, 1.6, 1.1, 1.4, and the fall off 0.7, 1.2, 0.8, 0.9, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.3, 0.1, 0.07, 0.02, 0.03, and now you have these going for 0.08, 0.08. So what does this teach you about the lowest aspect of what this recent token has been sold for? Well, it tells you that this was not market capitulation. This was an initial token sale, which is different from when somebody's selling a token that they already bought at a higher price. So it tells a different story in the blockchain of this token's journey. So I hope this gave you a bit of an understanding of what I'm talking about when I say we have to understand the BookGames token count supplied sheet first and foremost, because only then can you weigh your averages to see what the rarity is supposed to be and what it is, based on expected value versus absolute value. Because the market has crashed. We're in a market downturn in book games. But where's the actual value, and how can you calculate that expected value based on the capital that you're willing to allocate? # not financial advice. This is BookGames Spectator.